boots on ground, serve with pride, never back down from the fight. Deserts and the city streets, we keep pushing through the night. Battle tested, battle ready, earn respect through blood and sweat. Unapologetic veterans, and we ain't finished yet. Veterans speaking truth, real stories, breaking down the walls, tearing through the lies. This is our time to rise. From the Corps to the Army, Navy, Air Force to Coast Guard, standing ready, red, white, and blue. No filter on the mic, just the truth we bring. Welcome to the show where the real vets sing. Unapologetic veterans, turn it up loud. We served, we fought, we see it proud.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful edition of the Unapologetic Veterans Podcast. I'm your host, Josh.
And I am Stalls.
Not the other guy tonight, guys. Come on. We're done with that. It's over.
No other guy. I'm just Stalls. I'm the other guy. Not the other guy, but the other guy.
Technically, you're the other guy, but your name is Stalls, and that's all
that matters.
That's what we're going to go with. So, before we get started, I received something in the mail today.
Oh, snap.
And I want to show it to everybody.
What did we get?
I don't think James will be here, but from James with Heroes of America and Beyond, I got, open this bad boy up. I got some, damn, these are packaged really well. If I can get it out here.
That, were you?
I got.
Oh, nice.
Let's see if it shows it any better. It doesn't. I got the Marine Corps 250 edition coin, number 24. Thank you, TI, for that reminder. There's the back. And then he also gave the one that got messed up to begin with. So thank you, sir, for that. These are fucking amazing. And probably next week, I will have my coin stash up. So put that right there. But other than that, man, so how was your week been? I've heard you've kind of had to relive some of your Army days. Please elaborate.
Yeah, so last Friday, our fire panel at the warehouse went out. So, it's not communicating with the 911 service. So, unfortunately, me and the guys that I work with have been having to do fire watch, and yeah, that sucks. 8 hours, 8-hour shifts, 3 shifts a day. The repair person was supposed to be at the warehouse on Monday. They canceled. They were supposed to be there today. They canceled. And I just found out that they're not coming on Friday. So we'll be doing fire watch all weekend again this weekend. I've probably gotten a total of about 12 hours of sleep in the last 4 days.
That's good for you.
Yeah. Sure. But no, I mean, it sucks. It really does. It's a terrible situation, but the good part about it is right now we really don't have a whole lot going on at the warehouse. So, but yeah, so it looks like Hammy and Sons said that's awesome. Semper Fi. Lori Peterson, look at that doc on that coin. Home front sit rep, of course, he's up in here saying sup pimps. Lori Peterson, so the migraine is not gone. It did fade pretty well. But yeah, guys, so awesome episode last week. I want to touch on it a little bit. Coop and Mike, freaking awesome dude. Mike Howard, everybody. If you guys don't know who he is, go check him out on TikTok, Facebook.
Go check out that episode too. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Phenomenal episode. We were not ready for an hour and 41 minutes, but it was worth it. But we actually have a really good guest tonight.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah. So
I'm excited.
I don't think he really needs an introduction, as most people in the community knows who he is. So I'm just going to go ahead and bring him up.
What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
Welcome to the Unapologetic Veterans Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be on here. Appreciate it.
So I will give you a teeny tiny introduction for the select few that may be listening via Apple Podcast or Spotify. Check us out. We all know him as Wise Man Rivers, but he goes by Brandon also. Wise Man Brandon. I'm kind of a wise man guy. He's a phenomenal person. I've watched him grow on his journey here on social media, and I think you guys are really going to find his story kind of enlightening, and maybe for some of you it may touch some of your feels and kind of connect you, saying, hey, we're not alone. But without further ado, Brandon, why don't you, in your own words, give us a little background on you?
Well, I was in the Army. Those of you who have known me for a while now, I was with the 82nd Airborne, 173 Cav, and the 16th Infantry. I did a lot of airborne jumping. Did a lot of just a lot of different things that kind of would make people question why they would join. Why to join the military and stuff like that. I actually didn't even go in. I went in as an 11 X-ray. I didn't know any. I just decided. I was undecided at that time. And then they shot me over to the Charlies, where I was an 11 Charlie. I was a mortarman, and I was a PT stud kind of deal. And that's when they were like, "Hey, go airborne." And I was like, "What the fuck's that?" And they're like, "Just trust me, you're going there. Like, here's your orders." I was like, "All right, cool." So I landed in airborne school. Made everyone like everyone was like terrified of the school. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like airborne school was nothing. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a couple jumps, and it hurt. Definitely jumping out of those planes and stuff like that, but like the way that some of them were just like down and out, it was just kind of crazy. But we all made it through and stuff like that. It was actually one of the better times of my career there. I'll never forget Georgia. Those of you who've been to Georgia,
Georgia is a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's definitely a great place. We got caught in there was a tropical storm that year too. And someone got lost. We had to go find them. And the tropical storm.
Was it a lieutenant?
No. This was another freaking PFC. So like he'd gotten lost and hunkered down in a tree root. So he ended up finding him and shit like that. But
damn privates.
Privates trying to find privates. That's how I learned to actually become really good at learning a map. But after airborne school, they were pretty impressed, and they sent me over to a program called RIP, and that was a whole other ball game. That was in cupcakes and rainbows. And
so, for those of us that were not in the Army, what is RIP?
So RIP is Ranger Doc program. Basically, like it's for it's not for the tab, it's for the scroll, and you don't always get selected to go. Like, you can go through it and not be, just like we don't need you. So here you go.
Yeah, it's not like
that's
no go.
Formerly known as pre-ranger.
Yeah,
I gotcha. Okay, so, I think I'm caught up a little bit now.
So all determined on your MOS or on your MOS. reclass you or just send you on, like we just don't have room. And like at that time they were looking for other guys. So they sent me over to the 82nd where, I did a lot of jumping, a lot of other shit. But so I ended up the reason why I had to leave. So I ended up re-enlisting, but I had to leave. That's why I had to re-enlist, was because like I had injured myself on the 27th jump. Like we were at a ceiling elevation, and we were at 0 knots for pretty much the whole ride there to Sicily. And by the time we got there, as we were hitting green light, it went from 0 knots to like 15 knots, and the light had turned green or turned red. At that time, when you're in the door and you've already handed your static line off, it's kind of hard not to go out that door. So I ended up going out the door. And so, fun fact, when you're at 14 knots, it's like a freaking hurricane almost. Like it probably reached like 20, but my chute deployed and it's a guard. So it just flailed. And I pulled my reserve. And by the time my reserve had enough time to canopy, I had hit the ground and I bounced 3 or 4 times.
Oh, no.
And got dragged for about a few feet. And, ripped my cord or ripped my shit, everything like that. And a lot of like other people had landed before me. And like, there was this dude just like, you'd break your chems, like if you got injured and shit like that. This was a JFX and shit.
Right.
And chems were everywhere. And like, I go to the nearest person and his tibia is out of his leg. Like we found another dude stuck in a fucking tree. Like it impaled him.
Lovely.
That was in 2010. So you guys might have heard of that. They report, all that stuff is reported and stuff like that. So
yeah.
totally candid him, the one guy, and he was the other guy that was in the tree. He was fine or whatever. But there was a lot of injuries that day. I actually was pretty injured myself. I ended up crushing where your nerves go through your legs and stuff like that. They crushed on top of my nerves. So like I have like this radiant pain all the time.
Thank you, U.S. Army.
Yeah. Yeah.
U.S.
So like after that, like, I jumped one more time, and that's when I knew I couldn't do it no more. It was a Hollywood, and like it was like, someone had stuck two things in my back, and so I was done with that airborne. So I got sent over to Fort Bliss, Texas, where I was doing the med board and stuff like that. That's what they were sending me through, and they needed to stand up another unit over in Fort Bliss because they were building that up over there. So that's when I started to do like the MFCF, the mortar firing control systems, and teaching people how to like, engage properly, clearings, basically like expert infantry shit. During that time, I got to meet like President Barack Obama.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got to actually sit down and have like a 10-minute conversation with them during this luncheon or whatever. But like, we got to sit there and talk about a couple of things that, like with all the new standing up of this unit, and like just my military service specifically, and how I just kind of like switched over and adapted really well and continued to hold the standards. And like, it was like, well, that's easy, sir. Like, we're told to do what we're told to do. We don't get time to think, so we just got to
shut up in color, do as I say.
Right. Yeah. So I'm not gonna like jeopardize whatever time I have left to tell the president what I exactly thought.
Yeah, I don't blame you. They could have gone one of two ways, and I don't think I'd have taken. I don't think I'd have taken that gamble.
But like, we also talked about a little bit about like suicide. The reason why I don't talk about that stuff is because there was a lot of it happening at that when I was getting out. Tough, there one guy doing sports, and he's like, I can't get it out, and just whole covered in fucking brain matter and shit. So like, it was like, okay, like this is fucking ridiculous. And then there was the Russian roulette shit. And
yeah, I mean, those times were some, I don't want to say the darkest, but they were some of the worst times for a lot of our service members. Between the operational tempo and shit like that, you get injured, you become non-deployable, and the only thing you want to do is deploy. It creates a very toxic environment inside your brain. We talk about it quite frequently on here. When you're in that moment, it's, I don't want to say that we are not allowed to think for ourselves, but a lot of the thinking that we do is ingrained in us. So when you're not allowed to do the thing that you're allowed to do, or you've been training your entire military career to do, it's, you legitimately at that moment lose your purpose. If somebody says, hey man, sorry, you've been a kick-ass soldier, Marine, sailor, it doesn't matter. And they're like, but you're no longer deployable. You could stay in the military. We'll keep you in. We're not going to get rid of you, but you're non-deployable at that time. Yeah. It became very rough for a lot of people.
Yep.
I don't think it's just that either. Like when you become non-deployable, it's when you're getting out too, and your guys are going over again, but you're getting out, so you're not going over with them, and then you find out 2-3 months later that a couple of those guys got hit pretty hard, and then you're like, "Fuck, dude, I should have been there." Like that. It's that guilt. It's that guilt of like, damn, if I had just stayed in, maybe that shit wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Survivor's guilt almost.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so when did you get out?
So I got out in 2013. Obviously honorable and all that shit like that. And when I got out, I didn't exactly transition well after that.
So you were at, just so back up, you were at Fort Bliss when you got out?
Yeah. I ended up getting out in Fort Bliss, Texas with the 1/6th Infantry. So you get out and you go back home to, where was home? Nichols. So I ended up going back to Nichols. That's where my kids were and stuff like that. I had already gone through the divorce and shit like that, and so they were already back at New York and pretty safe and stuff like that. I got back and like nothing was right to me. Like everything was very wrong. And I was so used to being outside and being able to, like, I was constantly having, like, I had a responsibility. I had soldiers and shit like that, counseling statements. Yeah. I had purpose, value, doing the sharps and all that shit. Like, and I got home and the first day was pretty okay. It was nice to see everybody. But then the second day really started to I took a good look around at what society was turning to. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. I'm not ready for this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then, I just kind of bounced. I just left one day. I left all my stuff at my parents' and I said I'd just be back. And I left that day and I didn't turn around or anything like that for years.
How old were you when you got out? Were you, what, 24?
24, yeah.
Okay, so you enlisted right out of high school then?
Yeah, right out of high school.
So, but before you move on, I want to touch on something. So, We talked about this in another episode. For a lot of us who joined, like Stalls joined at 17, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, 17. I joined at 18. Now, granted, I did have I'll call it an adult job, right? I had a job before I joined the service.
Mhm.
But for a lot of us who didn't, you wouldn't know what you're doing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You go back to an environment that yes, you may be familiar with, you may know, but you don't know society. You know the
Yeah.
military. And then the second that you left Fort Bliss, that security blanket, if you will, is gone. You know what I mean? You don't have any responsibilities, essentially. I mean, yeah, you have your kids and whatnot, but you don't have your soldiers. You don't have to report to nobody. You don't
Yeah.
have you don't have anybody there that could answer any question and facilitate anything you could possibly need at your ready. It's a familiar area that you're going back to, but it's also not. It's completely different. It's a different type of familiar. Like, I haven't been in my hometown lived there in almost 20 years. I still remember it, but I couldn't tell you where things are. I couldn't tell you what things to do. I could get you around, but it'd be super unfamiliar for me. You know what I mean? And like, I'd be lost. I it's a struggle for a lot of people.
Well, like for me, I didn't even go back to my hometown when I got out. I stayed there in Columbus because Columbus, Georgia, is what I knew. It's where I was. It's where I was living when I was in. So when
Right.
I got out, I didn't leave. But for people who went back home, the stories that I heard was like, you're back home, and yeah, you can ride by your old high school, and you can ride by the post office and the courthouse and all that, but everything is different. It doesn't.
Mhm.
It looks similar, but it's different.
Yeah, it
So
was
it's
like nothing there. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like your memory is there, and like you go back to that place obviously because your heart's there, but like at that point, like that's not who you are anymore. And I think that's what the military had taught us was, uh, we're not that person, we're not that individual. We were, but then we broke it out of us and we've changed. We're not that. We're meant to be something else. We're mongers.
Yeah.
So
Did you when you got out? I was just thinking about this. Because we talked to Mike about this. What was your experience getting out? Like did you have so in the Marine Corps they call it TRS. Did you have like a class that is supposed to help prepare you to get out, or did they just say, "Here's your DD 214, slap you on the ass, and say good luck"?
So we had a 15-minute class, and there was a border patrol guy came in and was talking to us about the border patrol, and they're like, if you have any other questions, they gave us a printout of like all the shit in a folder, and like it was an army folder or whatever, and they're like, okay, here you go, like.
Right.
And then like they sent us over to like a workshop thing where you did a resume or someone wrote it for you. And then like after that it was like a checklist. So you got a checklist when you got out.
It was like a checkout sheet, and you
Yeah,
just have to check the
you know how
boxes.
you had to turn your equipment back in and shit like that?
Yep.
Same part of the out processing setting.
Did
So
you?
a check the box kind of situation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it for just general knowledge. Did you feel that you were amply prepared to get out of the military?
Oh no. No, I wasn't. I was ready to get out of the bullshit.
Right.
Like there was a difference. Like I wanted to get out of the bullshit. Like I got tired of being paraded around, and I was an NCO. I earned my keep and earned my right and shit like that. But like I was constantly being sent to these higher ups, constantly seeing generals and like these. Obviously it's an honor to meet like these generals of sergeant majors of the army and President Obama and stuff like that, but it's just exhausting. You know what I mean? You don't want to talk about the fucking nasty shit over and over and over again, and they want to know.
Yeah.
Like, you can't read a piece of paper, then I don't know what to tell you. Like that, but like that's how I wanted to answer every single one of them. But
right.
I, you know, got really acquainted with CID and stuff like that. So that's how
I got
it
you.
all.
So you get out, you go back to your hometown in New York.
Yeah.
And you tell your parents one day, you're like, all right, I'll be back. And then you just left.
Yeah. So I said I was going to go on like a camping thing or whatever, you know, like just, I'm going to leave my stuff here. I just need to figure out what I'm doing, who I am and shit like that. And, at the time I was a drinker too. I drank a lot. I haven't drank in like 4 years now. So, 5 years, it's been 5 years. So anyway, went camping, and then I was like, you know, like this shit I'm actually used to. I'm used to being in the fucking lowest of the low in the dirt and shit like that. We slept in the dirt. So like eating out of trash
Foxhole
cans.
style.
Right. So I ended up doing that, and then like we started to get smarter, started running into like some older guys, some Vietnam guys, and they kind of showed me the ropes of like getting into buildings and like what bridges are good to be under and stuff like that, the spots. And that's when I started to learn about the communications and stuff. I even got to meet my great uncle Johnny, who was from the Marines and stuff like that. He showed me, like, because he was homeless in Florida, he lived in Orlando, and like he worked as a construction guy, but he showed me a little bit about it. And like I just kind of like, it was like I felt more comfortable than like being on a bed or like in a room, or like I couldn't control I can't control the sensation of like being stuck, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like outside I don't feel stuck. I have the ability to see far and near and stuff. So I stayed out. Even during the winter, you know, we would find like factories and we'd go to Tops, or, you know, until they started locking their dumpsters and shit. But dumpster diving was a real thing. It was part of our thing, you know. And it wasn't like I was forced to be homeless. I was choosing to be homeless, and that's just part of my condition, where I became disassociated. You know, once all that shit happened, like something that clicked and stopped working, and it just carried on with me into my civilian life. And I think, you know, the military thinks that just goes away, and that
It doesn't.
To this day. Yeah, even to this day. So like I'll never, you know, you never forget a whale, and like, you know, it's not like a cry. So like that kind of shit. So like I just kind of haunts you every day. So I lived on the street.
Now, how long were you homeless?
About 3 or 4 years, 4 years, almost 4 years.
Man, 4 years is a long time.
My brother ended up finding me. At the time, I had reached my lowest, because what goes up must definitely go down. And he didn't, like, my brother is a vet too, so he kind of like sat next to me, and like he just can kind of tell that, like, you know, I didn't have much longer. So like he basically like, all right, well, it's time to get you to the VA. So I got in process to the VA, and that's when things started to change. And I did relapse back into homelessness for about a month or something, but that's when I met Amber. Amber and I have been together for 4 years, so I've been out of homelessness for 4 years. And we just, you know, she just really keeps me up and stuff like that. So everyone has their background character for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like that's amazing that you found somebody who's there for you. I mean, I'm the same way. Stalls talks about his wife all the time, but you know, my wife's the same way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same way. You know, I would be probably not here, like in this position, I don't know if I'd have gone as far as, you know, pulling the plug, but I definitely wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for her. I can put a lot of money on that. So with your homelessness, how many of the people that you interacted with were veterans? Just like you interacted with, would you say a good majority of them are veterans, or a mix, or?
So like you could tell which ones were and which ones weren't. Like, you
Mhm.
know, a lot of these guys that are on the streets, like they are really, really, really fucked up kind of deal. Like you can tell a lot by the gangrenes. Like you get a lot of those gangrene guys, you know where he was from and stuff. And like
Mhm.
they're the ones that are kind of like can tell who's who. You know, when I got out, it was just kind of like you don't really know, like, you know, you don't know what the life is for the veteran community. I'm still learning what the veteran community is on TikTok. So,
So are we. I promise
yeah,
you. So are we.
yeah. So
It's
like,
an ever-changing, evolutionary item.
I mean,
The
you
veteran
heard
community.
you heard before we started this what the TikTok side of it was, whether it was trolls or not. But I mean, it's social media is a great thing, man. But it's
yeah,
not. It's a very, very toxic environment. You know what I mean? It is a great avenue to connect to with people, to share your story, to interact with a bunch of different people, but fuck, is it toxic?
well, that's why I try to go on there and like, you know, change the narrative. Like with going on to Will's channel and like, you know, just like it's so hard to be negative when you're just beating so much damn positive into somebody. You know what I mean? It's just
No,
like,
absolutely. I mean, I remember when you first got your live access, and I'll still that I won't forget this. You came into Will's live. You told your story, and you said, "Guys, I did it. I got my live access. I'm going live later. I'm doing it. I'm going." I like hyped yourself up. And then you go live, and because obviously the first time you ever go live, there's nobody ever in your room unless you share it to people and they come in there. Like, it doesn't organically just give you a bunch of people.
yep.
And if I remember right, you had some sort of Spartan background,
Mm-hmm.
and you were talking the Spartan lifestyle, like, living like the 300, being a Spartan. And here you are, not really knowing how to use TikTok, just speaking things into existence. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but what you're doing now, and I would love to spend the next 20 minutes talking about just this, about what you're doing, or well, you are doing it. It's not trying to do. You actually are legitimately doing it, but what you're doing for this community. I mean, it's wild to think in the 8-9 months, I don't know, maybe it's been a year from you got your first live access to now you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
you've got some pretty crazy stuff coming up, man. Why don't you share about what this is and spend the next 28 minutes telling us all about what it is?
I got to put my old man glasses on for this one.
Are they the come apart ones?
Yeah, well, they're
Oh.
VA prescribed, but they're come apart now.
they're the new school BCGs.
Yeah, the new school.
I thought you were gonna take them and put them together like at the nose.
That's
Oh my god, I should get those glasses. Anyway, so like,
I'll pay for them.
So like basically what Iron Valor Studios is all about is it's a mission. It's about blending like playtime, like basically like immersing yourself into like the experiences of like uplifting each other and veterans. So like when I got on there, I already had thought of something all the way back in 2009. I thought of this game, where it was a therapy tool plus plus spades. You know what I mean? I needed something we needed, like, that was the time where we were able to just kind of break our walls down, because we had to think about, our math or whatever, or like what our partner is thinking. So like what I ended up doing was deep diving into like research with Joe, my business partner there, Joe Barnett. So like I came up with the idea of creating the War Sworn. So everything that you're seeing as far as like these characters, or as this character that you see right in front of you, each color that you are seeing actually is indicating a feeling, emotion, and interest, disinterest, critique. You're thinking multiple things without even knowing that you're actually thinking about it. So like there's a whole psychology behind it, like the different blues and the darker blues that may mess with someone and trigger them into a way to communicate more openly, right? So like I've done a ton of studies from all the way back to 2005, where it's like Journal of Environmental Psychology, like blue, right? Blue's a calming color, right? So people can't really be triggered by like too much of blue, but yellow is. So if you're taking a blue and a yellow and you're putting those two together, you're getting, you know, a mix. Your brain is sending you a mixed signal. Like one color is to indicate you for caution or alertness, and the other one is making you feel calm. Those two together are then creating a chemistry that are breaking down that wall, those bricks that we build up, and we soften them. It's kind of like adding a softener. So like then you start to talk about like the your service or something like that. Like, man, I remember jumping out of that plane, or I remember going to that range, or you know what I mean? And like that starts to be like that could potentially cause something where it could cause a reaction, like cognitive processing therapy. You break down, it's like, well, what the fuck do you know about this? Like, this fucking card isn't playing right. I don't fucking know what I'm doing. This is bullshit. Then it starts to be like, okay, whoa, what happened? And then that starts to, that's where communication opens.
So it's like a live action RPG, well, not really an RPG, but a live action game, but it can interact like we three here don't have to be playing it. If I was playing you, I could go somewhere else and we could tie it all in together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so like it's very it's very cognitive, and it's like it's very like interconnecting. We as veterans are like very like distant, distrusting, quiet, and like we're self-preserved, and some of us are really fucking loud. So like, but like,
maybe
debatable.
Yeah,
debatable.
but like, you have to add the old ways. Like everyone that knows anything about like strategy and breaching and being able to use the proper tools to get the mission done under any circumstances whatsoever, like you're gonna understand how to play this game. And you don't even need to be like in person. So like we have like red, which is like boosting alertness and energy. You got green, which promotes healing and emotional balance, understanding toxic thoughts. Like, I 22 isn't our mission. We're actually Joe actually has a nonprofit called Project Veteran House and stuff like that. So we want to home as many homeless veterans. I'm not going to talk too much about my partner's his history, but he himself has definitely
he's kind of walked down your shoes, down the same way a little bit. Yeah.
Yes. So like he was homeless and stuff like that as well. So like we have just a really big heart for that kind of community, for that kind of thing.
And, so for everybody listening, Brandon, so this is like a card game, kind of like Pokemon or some of the other trading card games where you have like characters that you play in turns and like they take damage and stuff
For
like
those
that.
of us non-card playing kind of guys, although I mean, don't get me wrong, I know some card games. What would you kind of equate it to for some people who may not do this on a regular basis? Is it more like a Magic game, like a Pokemon game, or I forget what the big
So
tabletop game
it's
is?
like if you merge the Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and like Magic, right? You put those three together, and then like it's something that like it isn't. This thing has never been created before. This is
Right.
literally an original kind of flow, gears and everything like that. This is all straight from scratch. So when I developed the game's engines, I had to cross-reference every single, a lot of different games to make sure that those gears were not the same as the other because of the copyright and
Right.
things of that nature. So my gears are very authentic and original. It's something we haven't seen before, but it's something I basically broke all of those three down to Barney style. Like I literally is like, you look at your hit points, HP points, defense points, one, and like, you have dice, you have 2d6 dice that you're rolling. And
That's
like
convenient.
that, yeah.
Magic
And that's going to help out to
20.
determine how much of your hit points you can use or how much defense is going to be able to take away from that attack. You know what I mean? If that's in a defense position. It's very broken down, very simply. I didn't want to make the game very complex and have a ton of moving pieces because like we're not trying to cause frustration. We're causing you to sit still and use your communication skills. And like
sit still.
Yeah, exactly. So like you kind of have to sit still. You have to use your brain. Like you have to kind of like turn off some of those things that you may have been having a bad day about. It doesn't matter because you're sitting down with your 4 friends or however many
Right.
guys that you're with, and you're playing these card games while the football game is on or some shit like that or whatever have you. It's just to bring you all together into one spot. And like that's why I created it like a collector card where you have to go out into the community, into the stores, and actually meet each other. Like
So it is in fact just a TCG, right? There's no like app on my phone I can download and do the same thing, or Xbox.
Yeah, so that's
Xbox
actually in
game.
development. Yeah, we're ramping up
Okay.
to have that as well. So like the cards are basically just the very first stage. We
Okay.
actually what I had up earlier of the motion pictures that I was showing you guys behind the scenes there, like that's actually going to be like the next level of these cards. So the cards are just the first step. That's what's going to be the collector. Then it's going on to electronic, where we're actually, you're going to be playing this game on your game systems. And then
Okay.
the final stage and stuff like that is, TV shows, and like I've already got episodes wrote out and written, and I have a whole book that's going to be published here soon.
So you're trying to go down the Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon route. Not only do you have a TCG, you're gonna have a live video game, and then you're gonna do a movie and a TV show.
Yeah, TV show.
Hell
and, like,
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's just you gotta always do like better. And that's why I try to teach everyone on those lives over there on TikTok and everywhere else, or whoever I'm talking to. Like you don't be the standard. You got to set the standard higher. So like always set your standard higher than the expectations. So like
Exactly.
people are just like at first they're seeing like, oh, okay, it's a card game, all right, and then like you start blowing their minds with like more steps, and it's evolutionizing and continuing to further and further itself. So that's why I encourage a lot of other people in lives with Will there and Vet Nation Cards is, like set yourself, like give yourself a goal and then go above that goal once you've reached it. Go a little bit higher, try a little bit harder, feel embarrassed, get out of your comfort zone. Because what gets us if we just stay in our comfort zone? Like for instance, you guys, you start.
Yeah, I mean, we become complacent, and then we just sit here and stare at each other for an hour and bullshit back and forth, right? You're not achieving. Yeah, sure, you may achieve your short-term goal, but you're not pursuing anything bigger or larger.
Yeah.
Right. It's it's that business mindset, right? It's that entrepreneur mindset that says, yeah, I want to be rich. Yeah, I don't want to have to work. I want my money to make money for me so I don't have to work, but I want more. I want to do more. I need more. I've got to create. And, those guys who get 3 hours of sleep a night because their brain never shuts off because they're so fixated on creating and working and building. I mean,
I don't know that guy.
No, he doesn't. That's why he's gray already.
Right. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've been up. Like I don't sleep through the night because like REM is not my friend. So that's what I do is that I just continue to build. You know what I mean? So before it was my hands.
Hold on. I sleep through the night. I go to sleep. I wake up in the morning, but what happens in the middle, I would not call sleep. It's some dormant body state, but it's definitely not rest. So how many cards so far are in, let's say your initial launch, your base set, if you will? How many cards should I go out to? And also tell me where, but where, how many cards do I have to go hunt for so I can be like Will and, try to find the ultra rare Sapphire Charizard. I don't know what the Pokemon thing is anymore.
So there's going to be like, Colonel Steel, or it's going to be King Gladius Steel, and those are like the king, and then there's the Rot Steel King, and then you got the Rune Guardians. Basically, those guys are like they're like the protectors of the runes. So it's like Warsworn, Rise of the Rune Wars, and we have another branch off coming soon after this first release of these four factions. But all those guys, like, had you seen when we had up the Wiseman card there, the S plus is the God card. Like you're not going to find a whole lot of these guys. There's one of Joe the Warlord, who's part of the Blood Forge, and there's the Blood Forge King, Xerxes, and we got like those kings. Anything S and S plus, those are the guys that you're going to be definitely going after.
So that's like your mythic or rare, so right? Okay.
They're kind of unfair, you know what I mean? Like they're going to come on to the table and lay down
my
their
blue
shit.
eyes dragon.
Like, yeah, I'm about to whoop your ass, kind of deal. Like every turn that for this card, for instance, he was he takes 100 life points every time he's on the freaking board. So like it's just like you're getting drained slowly, but it's a god card.
He's my blue eyes white dragon, right?
Basically, he's like your Exodia, basically. You know what I mean? But a lot of these characters too, they're based off of military guys. So like
I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here, guys. Brandon is you.
Well,
right?
I mean, it's the guy created. I created all of you. I gave you your life. I'll take it away too. You know what I mean?
No, man. That's hey. If I was doing the same thing, I would have. Not only would I have my own card, I would have some Easter eggs in there as well.
Yeah.
That people would be like,
"Yep,
no."
So from this first drop, how many cards can you expect to be out there?
So there's 4 factions, and each faction has 25, so 200 cards. So 200 different characters from these first 4 factions. They are interchangeable. 2 can play with 2. Like the Rune Guardians and the Warsworn, they go hand in hand because they're up doing one thing. They're protecting those ruins, and they're protecting their city and their people. You know what I mean? But the Rot Steel and the Blood Forge guys, like those guys are like the Blood Forge, or like a fallen kingdom of like different warlords and stuff like that kind of came together and are all about conquest and gaining the power of the ruins to make the universe in its own image. It's kind of like when you get out of the military, you know, you think you're going to get out, you're going to conquer the world. And then you got the rot steel, which that's when your toxic behaviors and stuff like that come into play. And like your toxic traits really start to come out, and you're just saying kind of fuck the free world kind of shit. And like you're just trying to gas everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, but those other guys, they have, it's basically that's what creates the mindset of a veteran. You got your army values and you got your morals, but then you got your toxic behaviors and you got your, you know, your ego trying to battle the other two. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's the reason why it's like
so
out there.
So 200 characters on the first drop. I mean, that's quite a collection. I mean,
so what are we talking? $500, $1,000? Like, am I gonna have to start paying people off to get these super rare cards? Like,
yeah, you're gonna have to start to give the blowies on the corner for directions and stuff. You know? So basically, no, it's going to be 15 in each pack. There's a randomization involved. So like, you know, you'll be getting more characters. These characters will have like QR codes and stuff on the back. So you'll be able to register your cards specifically to your own individualized deck. So like,
so it's
that,
set
and
up.
I'm guessing that's going to kind of mold into your app, your digital version of the game. Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, because you're talking, you know, obviously Josh and I are going to want, you know, that, you know, for a deck, for, you know, we're going to want one pack from the first release.
No, dude, I'll go buy them all. I mean, no shame in this game over here.
We're gonna want that because, you know, obviously, you know, if this takes off, I'm gonna have an unopened pack of Warsworn sitting on my freaking.
Yeah, so I actually do have something pretty well. I do have something planned specifically for, you know, people that help us along the journey. You know, right now we're a crowd-funded company and stuff like that. We do have a couple of other things that are in the works.
Oh yeah.
Hashtag Target or hashtag Staples. Appreciate them. They're going to be doing great things for us. We also got.
So when's the release date? I'm sure. Do you guys have a release date yet, or is that something you guys are still waiting on?
We're looking to do it. We're looking to have a release date of the fall time here in October. We want to get it out before Christmas, so that way, you know, this is something that you can definitely introduce to your kids. It's not child inappropriate. It's very much, you know, it's not like, you know, there's different actual ethnicities and characters. It's very broad as far as like I have Native American characters in there. I have Asian, Middle Eastern, Syrian, you know, I got all of them in there. They're all there for obviously for purposes to kind of get things clicking, getting the rust knocked off of the gears and stuff. But it's something that you're definitely going to be able to play with your family and stuff like that, and collect with your kids or with whoever you're trying to grow a connection to.
Now for me and my son is huge into the Pokemon stuff. So, you know, for my son, that would be something he would be interested in because it would be something that we could do together. I never got into the whole trading card hype, but
I'm just very cultured.
I mean, I'm cultured as well. I mean, I know about it. But my son, he loves it. I mean, trading card culture. My brother, he still goes and plays Magic, and he's 37 years old. So if that tells you anything.
My kids just like to open all the packs. They just like to, you know, open them and see what they get, and you know, they don't know how to play or really care to play, but they're like, "Oh God, look at this one! It's hollow. It's some crazy colors," and I'm like, "Put that down. It's worth $40. Like, put it."
Yeah, and these cards will have a value and stuff like that. They are going to get a greater grade and stuff like that. These cards will have that, so that way it'll have value, significant value.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I just wanted to give some key impact stats for like 80% of these 80% of players who play these card games. This is why I'm first introducing the cards first. The reason why I'm introducing the cards first, 87% of like people that actually play the game, you know, they start to see after 4 weeks that they're emotionally more regulated. They're better because they're using strategy, they're activating brain cells that they haven't been using in a while. You know, they've been feeling numbed and stuff like that, no emotion. Veterans using these games are 2.3 times more likely to stay in these kinds of like different treatments as well, because if one thing works, then they know other things work. So they get people back into that. The color code is like played environment, reducing stress markers by 20%. You know, you can't think about your stress when you're thinking about whether or not you're going to pull Gladius Steel and throw him out there to win the game or not. Like, is it time yet? Do I wait another round? You know what I mean? You're not thinking about like where you were, what you were doing, or how it happened, you know, because you're thinking about winning this match. And then you can go back to what you were thinking before. Turn-based like games improve cognitive flexibility by 32% in PTSD like populations. That makes us more flexible, right? So like that's why it's so important to get this game, for me anyway, and for Joe and for, you know, for Will, is like getting this game out into the community and getting people actively like using this thing. Not only is it like could be a futuristic potential like investment tool, but this is something that like if they are in that dark place, if they are struggling, you can literally slap those cards like a challenge card on the table and be like a challenge coin on the table and be like, I need to talk about this and I need to kind of take a break in between. So let's do this. And then you guys play that game. And that's what brings your camaraderie. It's like playing spades, dude. Like, you know, when we played spades, we were able to share the shit.
It's euchre. It's euchre.
Spades are freaking bones, man. If you didn't play bones, but I tell you what, man. 10 pin. Like, that's the shit that you remember. You're sitting around a table and you're throwing dominoes down on the table, or you're throwing spades down on the table. Like,
right, but how many times do you get into that argument with your battle buddy or something like that? That something happened last week, and you're just fucking getting pissed off because he's not throwing the right cards. It's like, motherfucker, you know what I mean? And they're getting upset, you know. Like that's what that is.
Read my eyes. I can't talk to you across the table, but read my eyes. I don't have any hearts.
I know you fucking kissed that bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like that shit. Like that subconscious stuff starts to pull out, and you can't.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. So, Warsworn will be coming to a store near you, hopefully in October.
Yep. Right now we're ramping up onto the what is it called there? Basically, it's a funding platform, Kickstarter. So we're actually going to be getting the Kickstarter up here in about another 2 weeks. So if you haven't checked out Kickstarter, basically what Kickstarter is, it's an investor page there where new and upcoming games or they're being first introduced into the economy. So we've had to make a whole we had to get our approvals, our copyrights, our patent and everything like that to get it onto where this is going. So there, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's called Kickstarter. We do have T-shirts and other little merchandise memorabilias that are on our website at ironvalorstudios.com. You know, and then so right there, here hopefully in a couple weeks, we'll have that up and going, and then that's when we have a set goal of I believe $150,000. That stuff can happen within 10 minutes. So, you know, that's because all investors are on that page. It's like Shark Tank. So
if you believe it, it'll happen.
Yeah. And
if you build it, they will come.
And if you've seen, obviously you've seen some of the pieces, a little bit of the pieces. I try to keep it as low key as possible. But once you see these cards and if you know anything about that market, whereas Pokemon or all these other card companies, you're going to notice that it's a way different card game. And like people want new, they love old, but they want new.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that is awesome, Brandon. I think, people like you who have a creative side to them and can find a way to reach people in a different way. Like, Josh and I can reach people on our podcast. We can reach people on TikTok. We have the nonprofit that we work with, but you and Joe and Will are trying to find a way to reach people in a different way that kind of makes them use their brain a little bit differently. Like where I can sit and have a conversation with you all day long, or we can sit and play a card game, or we can play a video game or whatever. But your game has a way of making people actually use their brain differently so they can see things from a different standpoint, which actually might help them solve these inner issues that they have going on. So that's freaking awesome. I like it.
Yeah, I'm just tired watching tired of just seeing people become so helpless and hopeless. Like I know what hopeless and helpless sounds like and looks like, you know what I mean? I know that firsthand, like the wails of a woman that just lost their husband, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff will never leave you. So like, I don't want people to feel that way. Like as much as I'm not like an empath, I barely feel emotions as it is because of the disassociative. But when people do feel that emotion, like that's a good thing. Like that's supposed to happen. Like that makes me kind of like, I wish I could, but I can give everyone the opportunity to do that. So that's what our mission is to really get people thinking again, like, we got to stop walking off these deep cliffs and stop feeling everyone else's like shit and emotions and start working your own and really taking a good look at yourselves. Like,
agreed.
It's time to figure out who you are, who and what you're going to be about, like what drives you, what wakes you up in the morning kind of shit.
Oh yeah. Well, Josh, I don't have anything else for Brendan. I mean, I'm in. I'm
in, man.
I at least want a pack from the original drop.
You guys will get your cards for
It's got to be signed, though.
Yeah, it's got to be signed.
I don't want to have to track you down in 10 years when you're still multi-millionaire.
So we have booster bundles and stuff like that. I'll be definitely sure to have hand-packed and stuff like that, signature, everything. That's like
amazing,
that.
Man. That's amazing.
Yeah, because I'm gonna put it up on a shelf, and then when Warsworn the movie comes out, I'm like,
"Hey kids, you remember this?
Time to cash that bad boy in."
Yeah, I mean, our children are our future, so like we definitely got to influence them the right way. So why not teach them to help each other, like we all supposed to do?
Absolutely, man. Well, Brandon, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks again, man. I appreciate it. We'll have to have you back on and dive further into this as this process evolves for you. I mean,
especially maybe closer to the release date.
Absolutely, yeah,
definitely.
Actually,
after release,
maybe we can set something up after your Kickstarter's live.
Yeah,
and then I can share everything on here, and we can get it out to the people even more, and we can dive further into this. But
yeah, I mean, any sort of attention is good attention for me. So. Right there, but that's my contact information. So if you guys have any questions, I also do other things for our community and stuff like that as well. So
now you guys have a website, ironvalorstudios.com, correct?
Yep. So that's that. My email's right there on there. Phone number, don't hesitate to send me a message. I'm pretty responsive. I have, pretty much anything you guys got for questions or comments or concerns or something like that. Well, comments and concerns, I might get back to you. You guys got,
Lori says you're amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, Wise, I've got something for you. So when I get a chance, I will get your address, but I'm gonna send you one of the very last coins that I have. From hotel company Lurs.
Oh shit, yeah.
It's a rubber coin, and it has a magnet, so it floats in the water. It's a coin that we made for a jump.
Oh shit. Okay, cool.
But legit. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I still owe Josh and somebody else. I owe somebody else one, but I only had 4 of them left, so I'll send you one of them. Airborne brother to airborne brother. But hey,
all the way.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate what you're doing for the community.
Absolutely.
And the closer it gets to the release date or your crowdfunding page being up and stuff like that, we'll get you back on the show. Let everybody know where they can go. You know, I'll invest $20 for 0.5%. You know, stake.
We don't want to pull out of the community that we're trying to help, so that's why we decided to be a crowdfunding.
I just want to own 0.5%. Okay, because 0.5% when you're a billionaire, I mean, that's worth some money, right?
I mean, I would imagine you guys will get some serious traction outside of this community.
Absolutely,
with this.
Absolutely.
I mean, just walking.
This is definitely something. Shop. Not only that, I think it's something that you know, your local therapist or psychologist could use for patients and stuff like that when, you know, they're struggling with whatever issues they have, because it's based around, you know, veterans, military service doesn't mean you can't associate it to something else, like,
or even be able to talk to your children about some things, why dad is the way dad is, you know.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
It's all about communicating and effectively doing so.
Well, everybody, that was Wise Man, aka Brandon. Brandon, we're gonna drop you down. We'll finish out the show real quick, and then once we're done, we'll bring you back up and we'll continue talking while this guy does all the work. So
appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it. Wow. I mean, that's pretty cool, dude. Trading card game. I would have never in my life thought that I would know the creator of a trading card game. So
absolutely. That's,
like,
I mean,
he's told me 10 years ago, hey, by the way, you're going to have a podcast and you're going to interview and talk to a guy who created a trading card game. I'd be like, dude, you're full of shit.
Good. Yep. Okay. Brandon, appreciate it, man. Phenomenal. Like,
absolutely.
For where you started, or to what you had to go through, to where you are now. Like, it's a pleasure to call you a friend. You know, like, it's an amazing story, and I look forward to seeing where you take this. Not only for our community, for, you know, the fellow veterans, brothers and sisters that's out there, but for all these kids out there in these card shops playing Pokemon and Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't even know if Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still really a thing, but all these games that
it's still a thing,
you know, that are out there doing all these things. I hope it makes it to them and they really see what it is, and, you know, and even to take it a step further, you know, this is something that could branch this community with our civilian counterparts, right? It gives us a commonplace, a true commonplace that we can go over, and, you know, we can sit down and say, what's up, man? All right, let's kick some ass. Let's do some things. But in other news, because this is the second week in a row that some shit has happened in the sports world at the end of a show. You want to take a shot, Dark?
What had happened now?
Former NFL wide receiver Antonio Brown is wanted by authorities in Miami-Dade County on a criminal charge of attempted murder.
It never ends. Never ends for the sports world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I got some.
You want to hear better news? Yes. Caitlin Clark is still the GOAT, and
Angel Reese is not.
Yeah, Angel Reese is just a stat packing fool.
Well, I've got some big news for not only the Unapologetic Veterans podcast, but the Unapologetic Veteran clothing line as well. I will have 3 shirts and 3 hats here a week from today. Not only will I have those, I will also have probably, I don't know, what is it, 9? I can't math right now. 9 more hats coming the following week. So hats are officially out. They will be up. I will post some stuff once I get.
You mean you'll
once I
have
get
8 hats because one hat will find its way down to Florida.
$30 and all the. No, but yeah, I'll post a video and some clips once I get them. Once I get some good pictures of them. It's coming from a fellow veteran company, and I'm super fucking excited. Not only that, there's some potential to expand our horizons instead of sitting here behind this camera in my office and his bedroom or his office. It's a bedroom, like
it's an office.
Yeah, it's an office. Yeah. To taking our show on the road. So I've met with a few people here in the last week, and we may be shooting this podcast, at least on my side, on the road with some people that I think y'all are going to really love.
If it's the one I think you're talking about, that's actually in my old stomping grounds. Like that's where I used to live.
That one. It's not that one. That is one of them. I
will definitely be present for that one because that's where I just moved from. Like literally.
Bullshit. So. No. No. But as always, I appreciate everybody who's been watching along. That's in the comments in the chat. To anybody who listens to the audio only version of this, I appreciate every single person that listens, that downloads, that follows along on our journey. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, give me your complaints, whatever. We're trying to build this thing bigger and better.
If there's something you guys want to see on the show too, like let us know. If there's somebody out there who has an amazing story that you guys want to hear, or you want the community to hear, let us know. We'll reach out to that person. We've actually reached out to a few people here of late that we're trying to get on the show. So
game changers.
Yeah, absolute game changers. So let us know. You guys can hit us up at either the YouTube, or you guys can email Josh or look us up on TikTok,
Facebook, Instagram.
Send us a DM. Let us know who you want to see on the show, what you want to see, like topics you guys want us to talk about, because we're here to be the voice of the community. That's the uncensored, unfiltered version. And sometimes a little unhinged. So, well, most of the time, a little unhinged.
But just stay out of the comment section every now and then on TikTok. It gets very, very deranged. Just beware. I think Lori's still in the chat. Ask her. She can verify. But as always, guys, the mission never ends. Let's continue the fight. Let's continue moving forward. Let's continue moving upward. As always, stay unapologetic.
Absolutely. And guys, remember, our podcast is brought to you by Homefront Sit Rep Heroes Media Group. You guys can find us on YouTube at Unapologetic Veterans, or search the Unapologetic Veteran Podcast. And I hope you guys can stay unapologetic.